Well, hello there. My name is Beth Gaff, and I'm the Media Literacy Coordinator here at the Peabody Public Library. And the first thing I want to start off by telling you is that this class is set up to go at your pace, which means that you can go as slow as you want, fast as you want, come back to it later, however you want to work it. That's completely up to you. This class is also geared for Windows XP, Vista, or Windows 7. So if you have Windows 8, this class would still be beneficial to you. However, we will be having a Windows 8 class later just to kind of explain those tiles to you a little bit better. So it definitely can't hurt to have this class, but some of the features in it are from the Windows 7 version, so it might look a little discouraging, but you can still do the same things in there that you can do as well with Windows 8. And at this time, I want to remind you that if you have a computer class pass, the incentive program, then you're going to want to be listening for that secret code throughout the class. So that way you can let me know what that code is. I can get you marked down for the class, and you can be on your way to win some prizes. If you're not familiar with this incentive program, please get with me. I would love to explain it to you. Getting classes means getting prizes, and who doesn't like free stuff? So without further ado, I want to welcome you to Basic Internet. Throughout the class, you might be hearing some particular words, and if you do not know the words, these next few slides are a very handy tool to have so that you can go back and refer to some of the things that you're hearing. Maybe you're not real familiar with them, and that's where terminology comes in. Just like any other class, you're going to have words you're going to have to understand and remember. So let's go through some of these. A website is a collection of related web pages that can contain images, video, or other digital formats. A web server is a computer connected to the internet used to store web page documents. The internet is a global network connecting millions of computers, making it possible to exchange information. The World Wide Web is a global information system consisting of web pages. A domain name is a unique name that identifies a website. So for example, they have there www.evsschools.com. A hyperlink or link is a link from a hyperlink file to another location or file. A browser is a program that allows the user to find and view the pages on the World Wide Web. A search engine is a software program that can use to find websites, web pages, and internet files. Email is a system of worldwide electronic communication, which a computer user can compose a message at one terminal that is generated at the recipient's terminal when he logs in. Malware is software designated to infiltrate or damage a computer system without the user's informed consent. Download, to transfer a file from the internet or other computer to your own computer. A router is a device that forwards data packets between computer networks. A Trojan is a type of computer virus. An antivirus is software that is specifically designed to detect viruses and protect a computer and files from harm. A web page is a document connected to the World Wide Web and viewable by anyone connected to the internet who has a web browser. Firefox is a browser. It was released in 2004 and has gone to be one of the most popular browsers on the internet. Chrome, that's a browser that's affiliated with Google. Yahoo is a search engine like Google that lets you access your email, search on the web, and much more. Google is an internet search engine. Wi-Fi is a local area network that uses high-frequency radio signals to transmit and receive data over distances of a few hundred feet. An address bar is a text field near the top of the web browser window that displays the URL of the current web page. Back arrow, an arrow on a browser that takes you back to the previous web page you were on in order, and that would also work with the forward arrow. Scroll is a way to view locations on the worksheet without changing the active cell, usually using up, down, side to side. And a scroll bar appears at the bottom and or right side of the window to allow the user to view another part of the window. Okay, so now that you're familiar with some of the terminology that you might be hearing throughout the Basic Internet class, that brings us to the first thing that I want to talk to you about, and that is actually a web browser. A web browser is actually what connects you to the internet world. So as you can see on the slide in front of you, there are actually four major web browsers that you can use: Internet Explorer, Firefox, Google Chrome, and Apple Safari. Apple Safari is a web browser that's available for Macintosh and has a Windows operating system. And most of the time it's used on your iPhones, your iPod, your iPad. It's going to be those iDevices. It's designed based on the premise that the most useful browser is the one that gets you on your way. So Safari would be a good one if you're using your iPad, your iPod, your Mac computers. Any kind of Apple product would be for Apple Safari. Internet Explorer is a web browser that was debuted in 1995 through Netscape, and it, again, is another feature that just allows you just to connect to the internet world. Most computers come standard with the Internet Explorer icon, which is that big E, and by double-clicking that E, it's going to take you straight to the web world. Firefox is also a free open source web browser for Windows, and you can use it with the Macs also. And this has the capability to block pop-up windows and things to that effect. So it will do the same thing that Internet Explorer does. It just looks different, is the difference. The web browser itself will look a little bit different than Internet Explorer. And moving forward on to Google Chrome. Google Chrome is an internet browser that was developed by Google. It allows you to use applications and tabs. It has a very, very extensive version to it where you have more options available to you through Google Chrome. All of these would work perfectly. You can pick any of them just to get you connected to the web world. And that's what these are for. You're not doing anything but connecting to the internet by using these features. So why don't you take a moment right now and pause this video and go to your computer and see what you have. More than likely you probably just have the Internet Explorer. If you wanted to, and this is completely up to you, you could go on to the internet and download the Firefox and the Google Chrome. And then you would be able to explore 3 different types of web browsers that are connecting you to the internet world rather than just one. But if you just have the Internet Explorer, go ahead and just click on that and just kind of look at your toolbar and look how the internet for you is set up. So right now we're going to identify which web browser we have on our computer. We're going to decide whether we want to download that Firefox and Chrome to see if we can kind of see what all the differences are. Or we're just going to go ahead and double click on our Internet Explorer and we're going to connect ourselves to the internet world. Go ahead, give it a try. Okay, so now that you know what a web browser is and what you're looking for, now we need to figure out how we can open it. And there's actually 2 real ways to open up your web browser, assuming that you're using Internet Explorer, which is shown to you there on the right, that little icon. If you turn on your laptop or you turn on your desktop, this should pop up automatically as an icon. So just by double clicking that, you're going to get connected to the internet. That is using your Internet Explorer web browser. Now if you're using Firefox or Chrome, you would do the same thing. First you would obviously have to download those softwares, which is Firefox and Chrome, and then you should have an icon that identifies the Firefox and the Chrome. But today we're going to talk about Internet Explorer because that's the most commonly used and it does come standard on your computer. So first you're going to look for that E, and on your icons, which is going to be on the front of your monitor on your desktop, you would just double click that, and then the next thing you know, you're on the web. You've now opened up your web browser. Now let's say that that E just isn't showing up or you just can't find it. Another way that you could get on the internet through a web browser is by hitting your Start button, which is located in that first picture there that you see by number 1. And when you hit that Start button, a menu is going to come up. When that menu comes up, Internet Explorer should be at the top because it's going to be the most commonly used. So you would actually just click on that and that will connect you to the internet also using Internet Explorer as your web browser going through your Start menu. Now also a lot of times when you download or when Internet Explorer is on your computer or Firefox or Chrome, located in that bottom picture that you see there is Internet Explorer, and next to it is Firefox. A lot of times you can put a little cheat icon down there so you're able just to click it once and it connects you. And that's what that bottom picture is there for you. A lot of times when you download these certain web browsers, those icons will automatically just appear down below in your tabs down there, down by the start menu. It's going to put them down there. It's kind of a cheat tool, so you can just click it and go on. Whereas on the icons that are on your desktop, you would have to double click. So why don't you take a moment right now and pause this slideshow and go ahead and just open up your web browser. Whether you're using Internet Explorer, Firefox, Chrome, at this point it doesn't matter. They're all going to open up the same way. And first start by looking at your desktop, which is the front of your monitor, to look for that icon, and double click it and go in that way. Once you do that, go ahead and close it out and try doing it through your start menu. Alright, so go ahead right now and pause this movie and give that a try. Okay, so now that you know what a web browser is and what you're looking for, now we're going to go into the 15 most common search engines. And the difference between a web browser and a search engine is a web browser connects you to the internet world, whereas a search engine is what you would type in to get you to what you're looking for personally. So for example, Yahoo is a very good search engine tool. They have the email system through there just like Google, and you can actually just type in whatever it is you're looking for in that address bar through any of these search engines, and you're going to find what you're looking for. So why don't you go ahead right now and just go ahead and open up your web browser, whichever one you have, the Internet Explorer, or if you did decide to download the Firefox and the Google Chrome, then you can go ahead and check these out also and connect to the internet world through your web browser. And then just kind of pick some of these options. You've got Yahoo and Bing and Google, Ask.com, Info.com, DuckDuckGo. There's a bunch of different search engines that you can use. Pick one that you would like to use. And in that search engine, I want you to research something. It can be dogs, it can be cats, it can be babies, it can be about computers. Just type something in and kind of play around with your search engine tool. Take a moment right now and go ahead and connect to the World Wide Web using your web browser and kind of check out some of these different search engines that you can do. So once you get onto the internet through your web browser, you are now ready to go through the search engines, and I know you've already had a chance to kind of look at some of them. I'm going to use Google as an example for us today. So if we double clicked on our Internet Explorer, it's probably going to pull up something that looks strange to us. But if we go up to that address bar, which is circled in the red that you see, we can actually type in www.google.com, and it's going to pull up our Google page, as you can see in the picture to your left. So now I'm into my search engine through my web browser, which was Internet Explorer. Now if I don't want to use Google, I could use Yahoo, and at that point I would put www.yahoo.com, enter or search, and then this would say Yahoo instead of Google. So there are some features inside of the search engine that we might want to know a little bit about, and this is just kind of a demonstration of that. And we've got the menu bar, we've got your Google account information, you've also got a Google search engine bar, which is actually going to connect you to whatever it is that you're looking for. And then you've got your Google search button and the translation language button. So, as we can see, by using the Google search engine bar, which is right underneath that Google, we can type in what we're looking for, and that's in that second picture there. and it looks like they're looking for something to do with computers or contracting. So they've typed in PVCs and stuff like that. So by typing that in and hitting that search button, which is also circled in the red, or you can hit enter, it's going to bring us up a whole bunch of different options of what we might be looking for. Now, in order to find what we're looking for, we're actually going to have to click on some of those links to get us to that web page. But for this purpose, we're just kind of familiarizing ourselves with the search engines in general. So if you go ahead, if you haven't already, and open up Internet Explorer by double-clicking, and go ahead in that top, see where that big red circle I have in our address bar is, and you type in www.google.com and hit enter or hit your search button, it's going to bring up the Google homepage, and that's what this first picture is. And then to find something through Google, we would type in what we're looking for. And in that particular situation, they're looking for something to do with PVCs. But you might be looking for something different. So go ahead and take a moment now and pause the video, open your Internet Explorer, get it going, go to your address bar, type in that www.google.com, get your Google homepage up, and then go ahead and type in something you're looking for using the Google search engine bar. So now that you're familiar with what a web browser is and how it can connect you to the internet, and then once you're in there, you know now the most 15 common search engines that you can do, one thing that you want to make sure that you have is an antivirus. The real benefit of an antivirus protection is directly related to the consequences of not having an antivirus software. The internet is not a secure place by any means, and even the most tech-savvy users have a relatively high likelihood of downloading some form of malware or becoming the victim of an identity-stealing scam just by going online occasionally. Learning just a little bit about the consequences of not having antivirus protection should be enough to convince everyone they need it. Here are just a few reasons to get top-quality antivirus protection for your computer. And the first reason is going to protect you from viruses. Viruses are the most well-known computer attackers that can do all sorts of damage. There are many types of viruses that each have the ability to compromise PCs in different ways. Most typically, users acquire a virus by downloading questionable files that are falsely presented as other things in an email scam, or by visiting a phishing website. While you may think you know better and that you won't download corrupt files and visit scamming sites, it's important to remember that hackers are creating trickier and tricky viruses every day. Some viruses pretend to be bogus antivirus software. Others come in email messages that could show that they're from a friend. That friend was an unknowing and unwilling sender. Still, others come from imposter bank websites or other important institutions with which you really are affiliated with. In short, many people who consider themselves tech-savvy have been tricked into allowing viruses to access their PCs. Once viruses have infected your computer, they can drastically slow down your processing speed, delete critical and important personal files and images, and in the worst case, cause irreparable physical damage to your computer. Viruses can cost you thousands in computer replacement costs and cause you to lose very important documents and photos. The best antivirus software can be purchased for very little to nothing. So as you can see here, I have a picture. That bottom left corner there has some examples of different kind of antiviruses that you can go in and look at, and a lot of them are free for you to download. Another thing that an antivirus protects you from is spyware and identity theft. Spyware is a kind of software that is specifically designed to infect your computer and spy on you. This means the spyware seeks and steals all your personal information stored on your computer. This can include financial data, passwords, social security numbers, credit card numbers, and anything else that spyware can detect. Some spyware is so sophisticated that it can record and save data in real time. This kind of spyware runs silently in the background waiting for you to buy something online. As you enter your credit card number to pay for your purchase, the spyware records and saves your payment information and transfers your personal and sensitive data to its designer. A hacker in remote location. These hackers use the information to make purchases with your credit card, perform banking transactions, and anything else they can get away with. Identity theft is a major headache for victims, and it can cause you to lose money and receive negative marks on your credit report. The best software that offers antivirus protection also protects you from spyware. So when you go in and you go to download these different kinds of free versions, you may actually have to pay a little bit to get fully protected, but it's so worth it. You don't want to have to buy a completely new computer because yours has been hacked into and viruses. So another thing that an antivirus is going to protect you from is spam. Spam is incredibly annoying when you're bombarded with emails and ads that you have no interest in whatsoever. What many people do not realize is that you're bombarded with spam that seems to come from nowhere every time you log in. That spam is most likely a result of a virus stored on your computer. Since antivirus protection software keeps viruses at bay, installing security software should result in a drastic reduction of spam. There are many types of antivirus protections applications to choose from, and the best products offer nearly complete shielding from viruses, spyware, and spam. So you want to be sure that you are researching what you're buying and getting exactly what you want. This very top picture to the left, there is a website under there, www.av-test.org / and all that information. By punching this into your address bar in your search engine, then you would be able to pull up this website, and what they do is they test all of these different kinds of antiviruses, your free versions, your purchased versions, and they let you know what they're good for, what you can use them for, which ones are the better ones versus the other ones. So this would be a very good website to go try to explore on if you are looking into antiviruses to protect you. And there's actually 16 free antivirus programs that you can get online at no cost to you. Now, if you wanted the full versions, then you would have to pay. But if you just want the basics, there are some free ones out there. ABG would be one of them. Advast is another. AdAware is another. There are several, and if they don't actually offer you a free download, they will offer you a trial, so you can actually go in and try their antivirus before you would decide to purchase it. So right now I just want you to pause this video because I can't express to you how important an antivirus is for your computer. It's going to save you in the long run. Okay, so just pause this video, get on your address bar through your search engine, and once you connect to the internet with your web browser, and just kind of type in free antivirus software, and you're going to have a whole bunch pop up. And you can click on these links and go in and read about the different companies and what you may want to use. I highly suggest that you go on this testing site, the av-test.org, and you can actually research the one that you're interested in and find out what the testers think about that particular one. So go ahead and pause this video right now and just kind of explore with the antiviruses. Okay, so that was fun, right? Being able to get on going through a web browser and searching some of those different search engines that you can use. This particular slide here is going to tell you about the menu for the Internet Explorer. I'm sure that once you clicked onto your web browser, you were able to see that you have different menu at the top. And I'm just going to kind of go through it a little bit for you. So if you want to, you can pause this video and go ahead and get your Internet Explorer up and just kind of follow along with me while we do this, or you can minimize this and look at it later. But you have your menu bar, which is your file, your edit, your view, your favorites, your tool, and your help. You also have your toolbar, which is your back and your forward, your stop, your refresh, and your home icon. It'll probably even elaborate a little bit farther than that, and you'll have more favorites. Media, that's where you're going to put your music or your pictures or any kind of videos that you may have. But then you have an address bar. And that address bar is where you would type in that www dot whatever you're looking for type of deal. And then you also have the main web page window, and that's right underneath your address bar. And that's just displaying whatever it is that you've typed in. So why don't you take a moment right now, if you haven't already, and pause the video and go on your Internet Explorer and just take a look at some of these options that you now have through Internet Explorer with that back button, the forward button, the stop, the refresh, your menu bar, your toolbar, your address bar, and your main web page window. And you can do this using whatever search engine you want to use, but in order to connect to the internet, we have to do it through one of the web browsers. So you're going to either do that through Internet Explorer, or you're going to do that through Firefox, or you're going to do that through Google Chrome. And then once you get in there, you're going to be able to see these options here that I'm showing you. So go ahead and pause this video right now and take a moment and just explore the internet. So now that you've been able to find your web browser that you use, finding your most common search engines, and you are a little bit familiar now with the menu for Internet Explorer, which is another picture here for you, we're going to kind of go into a little bit more about the toolbar and the functions of the toolbar. And with the toolbar, you've got your back and your forward button, you've got your stop, your refresh, your home, and your favorites. That back button, that's going to take you back to the page you were at before. If you push it again, it's going to take you to the page before that. You push it again, it's going to take you to the page before that until it runs out of however many pages you've had. Now let's say that you've gone back 2 pages and you realize, you know what, I found what I want, and now I want to go forward 2 pages. Well, that button right next to the back button that has the arrow going the other way is going to take you forward. So the one is going to take you back, and the other one is going to take you forward to those pages that you've already gone back from. The stop and the refresh, the stop is just going to stop that email address or stop that address from processing. It's no longer going to go. That's what the stop means. And the refresh is going to refresh your page, which means that if you are looking for something and you know you saw it once before, sometimes by hitting that refresh button, it'll just kind of give our computer a little bit of a kick, and maybe when it comes back up, that page will be completely different and it'll have new options for you on there. Then again, it could come up and it'll look exactly the same. But by hitting that refresh, it's just refreshing the page, and anything new that may have been added is going to come along with that refresh and things to that effect. That home icon, which is next to your refresh, is actually going to take you back home, which means it's going to take you back to the very, very beginning of where you started. So if you clicked on Internet Explorer and it comes up, it's going to take you back to that page. It's going to take you all the way back home, all the way back to the beginning. And then your favorites allows you to bookmark a page, which bookmarking favorites is the same thing. You're going to bookmark that particular website, that way you don't lose it and you can find it later. We're actually going to talk a little bit more about these functions throughout the class, but this is just a brief scenario of the toolbar, and it's also giving you the opportunity to pause the movie right now and go into your Internet Explorer and just kind of take a better look at that web bar. And again, just like any other program, you really can't mess anything up. So don't worry about not wanting to touch your computer for fear that you're going to break it, because you're not, I promise you. It's not going to break. You can go back, you can go forward, hit that refresh, hit that home, and go ahead and bookmark a few websites from the search engine. If you typed in cats and it gives you this great website that has great information, hit that star next to that website, or go over to where the favorites are and bookmark that page. And we're going to talk a little bit more about that, but right now just get familiar with what you're going to be using through Internet Explorer or through the internet in general. If you have a computer class pass, your secret code is Internet Access. Let me know that code so I can get you marked down for the class. So the next thing that I want to talk about, since we've talked about your menu bar and we've talked about your toolbar, is going to be your address bar and functions. And this picture here just kind of shows you what your address bar is and some of the things that you can do with it. So as you can see, that circled red website with the arrow there, that is actually your address bar. And that would be where you would type in that www.google.com or www.yahoo.com or www.bing.com, whatever search engine you want to use, you could type it in there, and it's going to bring you there. Or if you have a website directly written down that you want to go to, or somebody may have referred you to, this would be where you would do that. And you would type in the www and then type in the rest of whatever that address is, which is also known as a URL. So down below that, we can see that picture there where it has all those different tabs. The internet has a great function and feature that allows you to add more tabs. And as we can see here, they're on Facebook, and they're on Twitter, and they're on Wikipedia, and they're on YouTube. And just by hitting the tab next to the one you're using is going to create that new tab. So now you know how to put in your address into your address bar, and you also know how to add a new tab in Internet Explorer so you have more than one going at one time. So go ahead right now and pause this video and just kind of play around with the search engines that we already know about, which is the www.google or .yahoo or .bing or .ask, whatever you want to use. Put it in that address bar like it's shown in that first picture there to the left in the top. And then once you're in there, go ahead and try hitting those tabs next to it on the bar above your address bar. There's going to be another bar just like this. We have our address bar, and then we have those tabs that are above it. Go ahead and see if you can add yourself some new tabs there. And within those tabs, you can do completely different things. You could have Google open on one tab. You could have Yahoo open on another tab. You could have Facebook open on another tab. It's just up to you on what you would like to use. So go ahead right now and pause this video and just kind of play around a little bit with the address bar and the functions and those extra tabs that you can add in there. So up to this point, you've learned quite a bit about the internet. You've learned about the web browsers. You've learned how to search on a search engine. You've learned what your menus are, what your toolbar is, what your address bar is. And now we're to the point where we want to start saving some of these searches that we have done. And the best way to do that would be to add it to our favorites. Favorites is in the Internet Explorer web browser, whereas bookmarks would be in your Firefox and your Chrome browsers. But they still do the same thing. And we can see that very first picture in the top there, and it's circled in blue with an arrow pointing at it in blue, that they've decided that this particular website they want to hang on to. Okay, so that next picture over to the right with the red arrow pointing at it, they can just click Add Favorites, and once they click Add Favorites, that picture bottom left, a menu will come up, and it'll ask you, are you sure you want to add this to your favorites? And at that point you would hit Add. Now, if you notice, the name of that file is highlighted in blue in that bottom left picture. This is where you can either keep it at this welcome-to-about.com, because that's the title of that particular website. Or you can take all that out and you can name it whatever you want to name it. Maybe it would mean something more to you and you'd be able to find it easier if you named it something different. So welcome-to-about.com doesn't really tell us what that website information is. So maybe it's that particular website was about dogs and you want to put in there dogs. That way when you go back to try to find it, it's going to be a lot easier for you to find and you're going to remember that. So on that very last picture, the bottom right picture kind of shows you that that star, if you're using Firefox or Chrome, is the same thing as adding to favorites. Anytime it's in this particular situation, it would be called a bookmark. But a bookmark and a favorite is the same thing. So anytime that you want to save a website that you're using, you would want to be sure to add this to your favorites. So the best thing about favorites is that we don't have to go back and try to find that website, because we're going to be able to save it in a location where we're going to be able to easily access it anytime that we want to. Now you can go in and delete those in your favorites at any time just by right-clicking on that link. You're going to get a menu, and you can delete it that way. So if you decide later on that you just don't need it anymore, it was for a project you were doing and it's not relevant and it means nothing to you anymore, you can remove it. But what's nice about the favorites feature is that by putting it in your favorites, that's saving you a lot of time to not have to go back and find that website again. You've already bookmarked it, you've favorited it, and it's ready to go for you for the next time that you need to use it. So right now I want you to go ahead and pause this video and go ahead and get on some type of a website that is important to you. Do some type of a research or a search of something that's important to you. And I want you to try to add it to your favorites. And again, you could do this another way also. You could just right-click from your mouse. And by right-clicking on your mouse, that's always going to give you a menu no matter what you're in. And by doing that, you're going to get that option to add to favorites. And that would work as well. So you do have two different types of ways that you can do this. And one way would be to do it straight from the web page by clicking Add to Favorites, possibly changing the name, hitting Add, and now it's in there. Another way would be just to right-click straight on the website, and the menu will come up, and then you would just click Add to Favorites, and it would go in that way as well. So go ahead and pause this video and give that a try right now and add your favorite website to favorites. That was really fun, right? Being able to put some of those more commonly used websites that you may be going to on a regular basis or that you plan to go to on a regular basis, and just being able to add them into your favorites, understanding the new tabs that you can have open, and understanding your address bar is going to really get you far in basic internet. And please go over this video as many times as you need to make sure that you understand completely what you're going to be doing within all of that. So the next thing I want to talk about is refreshing and what it does to your internet page. Okay, your refresh is actually a reload of the page is what it is. And we're also going to talk about that stop feature. So computers still are not completely perfect. We'd like them to be, but they're not. And sometimes when we type in a web address or a URL, it may come up and tell you there's a problem with the page or it just can't load for whatever reason. By hitting that refresh button or your reload button, it's going to reload that address that you put in there and try that page again. Now sometimes you'll hit it and it won't work again, and that just means that there's something wrong with the address itself. It's not working properly, so maybe you need to check what you've typed in and maybe retype it. But if you know it's right and you know it's working, sometimes just by pushing that refresh will just refresh your computer, reload the page, and it might come up right away. So, you know, that X next to it is your stop feature, which just it does that exactly. It stops looking for that address. So let's say that you notice right away when you typed it in that you put a dot somewhere you shouldn't have. You can just hit that stop feature and it's going to stop searching for it. Or you could just take it out and retype it by highlighting, and we've learned in other classes how to highlight by using our mouse and left clicking and just dragging it across. It's going to highlight whatever it is that we're trying to do, and then by hitting backspace it's going to take it out or delete. So why don't you right now try to work with your refresh a little bit and maybe even your stop. Go ahead and go to your web browser and find whatever search engine you want to use, and go ahead and just type something that's important to you or a topic that you'd like to know some more about, and just hit that refresh button. And when you do that, you're going to see the page kind of flicker. It's just reloading that page for you to make it a little bit easier for you. So go ahead and take a look right now at your refresh and your stop buttons and see what those can do for you. Now I want to talk to you a little bit about adding an internet option. And what an internet option does is it automatically sets your home page to whatever you want it to be. And what I mean by that is it's going to set that search engine that you use most frequently as your home page. So when you double click on Internet Explorer and you connect through that web browser, that search engine that you like the most is going to pop up instantly. Okay? And the way that we would do this and set our internet option is through our tools. And as you can see, there's actually two examples that you may be able to do this with. And I've got two examples of what your screens may look like. Sometimes that tools function in the top left picture could be on the left side, Or in that bottom picture, it could actually be on the right, and it's circled with the blue, and you have a red arrow pointing to it. By pushing that Tools button, we're going to be able to go down to the bottom and select Internet Options. When we do that, we're going to get a box that comes up, and that's the picture to our right. And we can automatically set our home page or our home icon, which I have circled in red in that middle picture with the blue arrow pointing to it. So every time we push that, it's going to go straight to the search engine that we want to use. So let's say that we wanted to make Google our home page, or we wanted to make Google our Internet option, which means that when I double click on my Internet Explorer, Google is going to automatically pop up. I won't have to type in www.google.com anymore because it'll already be set. So in order to do that, I would hit my Tools, my Internet Options, I would get my window up, and that green circle with that green arrow there, that's actually where you will put that website in that you want to use. So if you want to use Google, you would take out all the information that's already in that box, and you would type in www.google.com. You would apply that action with that turquoise arrow that says number 2 at the bottom, and then you would tell the computer it's okay. And that's with the green arrow with the purple circle, number 3. Okay? So by going to your Tools, clicking Internet Options, setting your web page that you want, and applying it and doing OK, now when we double click on Internet Explorer, Google will automatically pop up. Now, if you want more than one to come up, let's say you want to use Google and Yahoo, you can do this. And by doing it, you would go ahead where number 1 is on that far right Internet option menu that we get, and you would type in your www.google.com, and then you would hit your enter, and it's going to go underneath it, and then there you could type www.yahoo.com. You're going to apply that action with that turquoise arrow, and then you're going to tell the computer it's okay to do that. And then you're going to hit OK. Now when I click on Internet Explorer, I'm going to get a tab for Google, and I'm going to get a tab for Yahoo. So why don't you take a moment right now and set your Internet option to whatever you want it to be. And remember, we do this by going to our Tools function, whether it's on the left side of our web page or on the right. We click our Tools feature, we get a menu that comes down, we hit Internet Option, a box is going to come up, and that's where we're going to put in what we want to set as our home page. So then, if you can see that middle picture there, I've got a red circle around my home icon. Every time I push that home icon, no matter what page I'm on or internet site, it's going to automatically take me back to my Internet option that I have set. Okay, so go ahead and pause this now and minimize it, get on the internet, and set your internet option to Yahoo, Bing, Google, it doesn't matter, whatever you want to use on a regular basis, and set that option for yourself. That way every time you click on Internet Explorer, Firefox, Chrome, it doesn't matter, that search engine that you use most frequently will be available to you. Try it now. Go ahead. So next to that refresh button, we have a home icon, which is a home button, and I have it circled there with an arrow for you just to kind of see. And sometimes when we're on the internet, we can get wrapped up into a lot of things, and all of a sudden we'll just be like, you know what, I just want to start over. I want to get out of everything I'm doing. I really don't want to close it, but I just want to start over, and I want to go back to the beginning of everything. By hitting that home icon or that home page button, that's going to take you back to the beginning of everything you started with. So if you have reset your internet options, which we are also going to talk about, or we already have talked about, once you reset that internet option, you're going to be able to have it automatically pull up Google, pull up Yahoo, pull up whatever you need it to when you hit Internet Explorer. So by hitting that home button, it's going to take you all the way back to whatever your internet option was set up to. So if I have Google set as my internet option, then I'm going to push that home button and it's going to take me back to Google. If I have Yahoo, it's going to take me back to Yahoo. So those are just some examples. So go ahead and get yourself into the internet by typing stuff out or whatever, and get into some web pages, and then go back in and click this home button and see what happens. It should bring you back to your original internet option that you set for your computer. So every time you click on the World Wide Web, it's going to automatically pull up this web or this search engine for you. So go ahead right now and pause this video and just kind of play around with that home icon button. Okay, so up to this point, you have done quite a bit on the internet, and you have learned quite a bit about the internet. So now I want to talk to you about the back and forward arrows that are going to be your helpful little handy tools that you can use. These are good for going back to a website that you've already visited. Let's say that you are on a page and you're reading it, and you click on something that's inside of that web page, and then you decide, you know what, I want to go back to that previous one because I saw another link there that I wanted to click on. By clicking that back button, that's going to take you back to the previous part of the web page that you were on, so then you're able to access whatever it is that you may have wanted to do that you hadn't done before. And then by hitting that forward, it's going to take you forward to that link that you had gone back from. So why don't you, it really doesn't take a whole lot. It's really kind of easy to do just by getting on the internet by itself. Just kind of type in something in your search engine that you're interested in, click on a link, and just kind of research through it. And then when you do that, go ahead and hit that back button and see what happens. What should happen is that it'll take you back to where you were the step before that. And then if you hit it again, it's going to take you to the step before that, and then the step before that, until it doesn't have any more backs to go to. And the forward works the same way. So if I go all the way back to the beginning, I can forward all the way to where I had started. So go ahead and pause the video and play around with your back and your forward arrows. They're very easy to use, and you can really get a lot of stuff out of being able to use these. They can save you a lot of time. So just take a moment right now and just kind of play around with your back and forward arrows. And remember, you can't mess anything up, so don't worry about that. If you're in an area that you don't want to be into and you set your internet option, you can always hit that home icon and it's going to take you back to where you started. So just pause now and work with your back and your forward arrows. So if you don't already have an email address, I am going to show you how you can create a Yahoo email address and how you can create a Gmail, which is through Google, email address. So this one here is Yahoo, and basically I would go into my address bar or my search engine, into the search bar, and get on Yahoo. Just type in Yahoo and go to the link, and in the top right corner there is a mail button. I have it circled there in blue with the blue arrow. You would push that mail button, and then you're going to go to another page that's going to want you to enter in all your information. This is where you can choose what you want your email to be. You can put in all your whatever you want to be in there. Now keep in mind that sometimes maybe the email that we want, because it'll automatically generate something for you and you will have options to choose from. If you're not liking those, you can always use your back arrow, back out of it, hit the mail button again, and go back in and start yourself over. So there's really just the 3 steps. You're going to hit your mail button. You're going to fill out your information and submit it, and then you're going to be able to log in from that point. So if you end up, this far right picture there shows you another way. So if you are in there, you can actually hit create new account, which they have circled there with the red arrow, and then you can click on that and create a new account. And then once you do that, it'll bring you to another screen, and we're going to talk about that here in a minute. But right now, if you're wanting a Yahoo email, this would be a great opportunity for you to pause this video and go in and set yourself up on a Yahoo email account and create yourself an email account through Yahoo. Go ahead, give it a try. This image here is very similar to the image that you're going to be seeing when you get into understanding your Gmail account. This just kind of shows you what all the different features are. And again, keep in mind that Yahoo has changed a lot of things about their email, so it may not look exactly like this, but the features are still going to be the same. So as you can see, there's arrows just kind of pointing and guiding you through. So up to now, if you created yourself an email account, then you are probably already familiar with this screen. But I just wanted to show you some of the options that are in the understanding your Yahoo account. We're not going to go into this a whole lot. Eventually we will be having a class on just understanding your email and signing up for email accounts and things like that. But if you have set up an email account through Yahoo, you've probably already seen some of this. If you chose not to and you're going to do it through Gmail, it's still very similar. So you can see that you have your inbox, your draft, your sent, your bulk, which is going to be your spam or your junk mail, and your trash. It also shows you how you can compose a message and how you can retrieve it, how you might be able to delete it, how you might be able to mark it read. There's just a lot of functions and features inside your email once you create that account. So if you did create a Yahoo account, why don't you take a time right now just to pause this video and just kind of go in there and explore around a little bit. The next slide we're going to talk about is composing your Yahoo email address, and it's just going to be another picture of this, just a little bit more in detail about composing. And what composing it means is that you're going to start a new email that you're going to send to someone. So just go into your email account if you created one through Yahoo, or if you have a Yahoo, and just kind of play around with the functions. And just keep in mind, you really can't mess anything up unless you're in there deleting things. So don't delete anything, but just go in and click your inbox and your draft and your sent and click on that compose button. Anything you open can be closed out. So just kind of explore around in Yahoo email a little bit. Yahoo Email has done quite a few updates, probably since this picture's been brought out, but this just kind of gives you an idea of what you're going to be looking for. So once you created your account through Yahoo, an email account, this page here just kind of shows you how you can compose a message and what all these little tabs and stuff mean when you're ready to do that. So you've got your mail tab, which down there underneath, you've got your from, your to, that's going to be who you're going to send it to. From is going to be from you, so it's going to fill that in for you. You can put your subject in of whatever it is that you're wanting them to get their attention right away. And then in that big box down below is where you would actually put your message in. And then you could hit your send, which is right underneath that mail button. So actually the way that they have it set up now is when you go into Yahoo and you've created an account, you can actually customize it in all kinds of crazy ways. They have pictures and graphics and all this great stuff. And it's up to you on how you want to set it up for yourself. But this just kind of gives you a bottom line of what it might look like when you're ready to compose a Yahoo mail message. You do have other features in your account, which is your inbox, your sent, and your drafts and things like that. And you feel free to go in and click on these items. You're not going to hurt anything. You can't mess it up or at all. So you can just kind of explore your email account now that you've created through Yahoo. So why don't you pause the video now and just kind of go in and pretend that you're going to send a message to someone, or just click on some of the tabs in your Yahoo email now and see what your options are that are available to you. So Gmail or Google Email really isn't that much different than the Yahoo when it comes to the setup of it. It has a Gmail button, whereas Yahoo had just a mail button. So if you're on Google, you can click on that Gmail and you can go in, and again, you're going to have to enter in your information and you're going to have to submit it. And then that page to the right there just kind of shows you what the login page looks like. It also has that create an account similar to what Yahoo had. So the Google email is very similar as far as setup goes to create yourself a Gmail account. So maybe you didn't want a Yahoo email, then Gmail would be my next recommendation for you if you do not have an email account yet. And you can do this by going to Google, clicking on your Gmail, entering your information and submitting it, being able to create what you want your email to look like, and then you would be able to log in to your page. So why don't you pause this now and go look and explore with Google, and maybe this would be something that you might want instead of Yahoo, or you could have them both. Maybe you want your Yahoo email to be your personal email, and you want your Gmail to be more of your business type email. Either way, you could have an account with both, and there are other companies out there that provide email addresses, but these are the two primary ones we are looking at in the class, which is the Yahoo and the Gmail. So why don't you take a moment now just to go to Google and just kind of look at that Gmail experience like you did the Yahoo. This slide here just kind of shows you what the Gmail looks like once you get inside of it and you actually have an account. All of these are labeled for you to let you know what they are. So as you can see up top, we have our Google applications, and that's going to be where our calendar, our documents, our photos, or anything like that that we have stored are going to be in there. Your search bar and your email and webs, anything in that search bar is only going to search your email. It will not search the web unless you click on that search the web link. So you actually have the options of whichever one you want to use. Your Google profile account is shown to you just very similar like it was in Yahoo. You've got your inbox and other applications. They have chatting features. You can invite your friends. Of course, you've got your message area just like the other was like. You can compose a message by clicking that button. There's always advertisements. You're never going to get away from those. They got to make their money somehow. So this is just kind of a rough picture, just kind of showing you what it will look like inside Gmail once you actually created an account with Gmail. And again, you can set your profile and options to different and various things. So it may not look exactly like this, but it will look very similar, and it's very easily maneuverable, and you can have a lot of fun with the email. We aren't going to go into a lot about the email system. I do plan on having a class just on email, but this just kind of gets you set up to where you could create a Yahoo or a Gmail account to benefit you so you can start using that email system. Now, when we offer the email class, you may want to come to that class so you can see better how you can use your email and all of the features and functions that it has available to you. But on a rough, this is what it's going to look like for your Gmail and the Yahoo email. So why don't you right now go ahead, if you haven't created a Gmail account and this sounds good to you, create your Gmail account and go in and kind of look at this. Or you can wait till the class that'll be offered and we can do all that together. But they do have pictures online that you can look at that go a little bit deeper than this, so you can get a better idea of what the email systems look like. Okay, so we have learned a lot of information about the internet and how we can get around and how we can save those favorites and how we can create our emails and what all the little functions are. And again, this is just very basic information, and it can go much farther than this. But this is going to get you around, and then you can explore more to kind of educate yourself a little bit more on how the internet works. The last thing I want to talk to you about that's extremely important, and it kind of goes along with our antivirus, how important that was, is internet safety. I can't express enough to you how you just need to be careful when you're on the internet. Make sure that your resources are reliable. Make sure what you're clicking is reliable, that you're not opening up things that you shouldn't be opening up. You don't want to take a chance of identity theft if somebody's stealing your identity. You don't want any of that nasty stuff that we hear about coming up on your computer or anything like that. So if you are letting other people use your computer, and I'm talking about your children, your grandchildren, your nieces, your nephews, I'm talking your younger children and maybe even some adults that you know, you just want to be sure that they're on sites that are going to keep you safe, them safe, and your computer safe. So changing your password frequently is a pretty good idea. That's going to stop a lot of those hackers from being able to get into your system. Not doing certain things, like not getting in chat lines and chat rooms and things like that where people can access your information. It doesn't take very long for somebody to access your information. And if you remember correctly, we just got done not too long ago with major department stores having a problem with people hacking into their systems and stealing people's identity and their credit card numbers. And if you think about it, if that can happen to a huge corporation like that, think about the little people that it could be happening to, and it happens all of the time. So safety is a huge thing. You want to keep safe by being careful not to give out your personal information, such as your full name, your email address, your phone number, your home address, photos, or school name, to people chatting with online. They don't need to know all that information. The last thing you want is for some weirdo or stranger to show up at your door knocking on it because you gave them the information on how to get there. Okay? Meeting someone that you've been in touch with online, it can be very dangerous, so you want to be careful with that. Only do so as long as you've got somebody with you or it's a public location, and depending on what you're doing, just be very cautious. Accepting emails and IM messages or opening files, pictures, texts from people that you don't know or trust can lead to problems. These could contain nasty viruses and nasty messages that you don't want to have to deal with. So you want to be sure to be safe about that. Reliable information that you find on the internet may not be true, so make sure that that the information is reliable and that it isn't something that somebody has just been lying about. And make sure you check the information before you actually believe it. I go to several websites to research it, so make sure that information that you're getting is actually a reliable information and not just something that's out there. Wikipedia is a very good example of that. I could go into Wikipedia today and I could change anything I wanted about anything I wanted, and whoever clicked on that would believe it because it's on the internet. It's got to be true, right? No, it doesn't have to be true. So, and make sure that you tell somebody if something is going on, or if you feel uncomfortable or you're worried that something might be happening to you, if you're being bullied online, or if your children are being bullied, grandchildren, great-grandchildren are being bullied online. It's just a good idea to be aware of your surrounding and be safe on the internet. And the next slide that I'm going to show you actually has a few links that you could plug in that gives you some great safety tips. This is that slide I was talking about the important internet safety links. And I would take a moment and just type some of these addresses in and just kind of look around and see what they're telling you about internet and internet safety, not only with you, but anyone that may be using your computer or anyone in your home that uses devices. It's just good to be involved. So make sure that you kind of check some of these out and fish around. If you don't like any of these, it's okay. You can go to your search engine and you can type in internet safety, and you're going to get pages and pages and pages of nothing but how to protect yourself while you're on the internet, or protect those people that are on the internet using your device. Thank you for taking Basic Internet. I really do hope that you learned something new today, and I want to thank you for just being involved with the library and the programs that we're offering to you. If you have any questions about anything that you saw that was in this show, or maybe another class that is streamed that you've seen, or just questions in general, you can email me at understanding.computers@yahoo.com. And I do get those emails, and I will respond to you as quickly as possible. Without you, there would be no reason to have these internet courses, or any kind of course for that matter. So to you, I thank you and I applaud you. You've come a very long way. This was not an easy course, and you made it to the end. Congratulations and good job. The following class could not have been brought to you without the images and information that came from the following websites. This class could not have been brought to you without the following information and images from the following websites.